When I originally set out to make a filler video, I didn't expect to be sitting down and writing a script for it. After mulling over how to present the ideas I want to express for a solid hour, I landed on the obvious choice of starting at the beginning. Summer of 2021 was very transitional for me. I became the last kid in the house, I was about to jump into my last stand in the United Kingdom, and I was gifted Penn Central Color Guide to Freight and Passenger Equipment Volume 2 by James Kincaid. Passenger cars, especially sleepers, sparked a newfound interest in passenger transportation. Naturally, a collection of passenger cars forms a consist, of which is the topic of this editorial. While there are a variety of perspectives on how to go about making consists, I believe there's an art in doing so. In the United States, the end of the Silver Age of passenger travel by rail, decline, and subsequent reorganization under Amtrak saw many cars of different configurations and origins spread by the wind. I think there is a beauty in such a thought. In my opinion, a good consist should be just as interesting as what's on the head end and the scenery it runs through. In what may be my first ever cohesive public YouTube video essay narrative rail fanning piece, I will be guiding y'all through one consist I've made and some particularly noteworthy locomotives and cars. Our backdrop for today's experiment is Approach Medium's Pennsylvania and Burr Wind, one of the first routes I installed on my new computer. You can tell it is judging by how mediocre these screenshots are and how basic the consists are. Hopefully, today's consist bucks the trend. In Illinois Central Gulf, GP38-2 number 9608 is on point. I specifically chose this unit as it was named after prolific author William Faulkner. Number 9608 was a part of a new order of 40 GP38-2s for the ailing Illinois Central Gulf. In a stroke of brilliance, the new units would each receive names commemorating notable individuals. Abraham Lincoln, Casey Jones, and Sim Webb, among others, were honored. Faulkner stuck out to me owing to his sage advice framing a rather brilliant Milwaukee Road documentary by Blair Kustra. In this scenario, our beleaguered passenger train suffered some kind of mechanical failure in either the trailing SDP-40F or GP7. I assembled this consist with a keen eye for fictional equipment, as my original thoughts led me to believe that I wouldn't be using it for more than a few establishing shots of a larger project. I love going into these things without the foggiest of idea of how they'll turn out. The West Virginian Western is my serious fictional. It has made a few appearances on and off of YouTube. Our GP7 is equipped with a steam generator for dual service. Instead of another cow unit, I feel like it disrupts the norm of early Amtrak nicely. Early Amtrak trains became notorious for equipment shortages. Some things never change. And the ex-Burlington Northern, originally Great Northern, 7-duplex, 4-section, 3-double-bedroom, 1-compartment, 7431 River Series sleeper stepping in as a crew dorm is a reflection of that. I was inspired to choose this car as footage from that era depicts the same type or similar configuration of sleeper in a similar role. This particular car, number 1262 Schnomus River, is also somewhat noteworthy in that it carried the Pullman name next to the number while other cars did not. Another sleeper brackets the baggage and mail complement, this time lettered for the fictitious Mexican and San Antonio, a fictional railroad created by Arkansas Locomotive Works. It is perhaps unusual to see another sleeper at the front of a train. Lone Star is being pressed into Slumber Coach Economy Sleeper Service. I do want to do an entire analysis of the history behind North American economy sleeping car accommodations at some point in the future, God willing, so I'm going to touch lightly on why this slumber coach doesn't look like a conventional slumber coach. See, like all good things in the world, we can trace this kerfuffle back to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the Baltimore and Ohio, who indeed ran cars of a 16 duplex dromette or double bedroom configuration in some form of budget sleeper service. Amtrak actually continued this tradition on the Florida trains, flat out advertising them as slumber coaches. Another fictional kicks off the coach section. A Texas and Lake Erie, a fictional railroad created by Shortline 819, 60-seat coach is followed by a former Burlington Northern, ex-Chicago Burlington and Quincy coach dome. I'm thinking Amtrak poached it for the coach section because of, again, an equipment shortage. Sleeping car sections are always my favorite to assemble. I feel like there's an untapped magic in the ability to provoke a profound point via the collection of names on a block of sleepers. A Washington, Ohio, another fictional created by Shortline 819, 21-roomette sleeper, Clater Lake, is an outlier to the vibe I was trying to establish. Before going any further, I want to caution you all that although some of these cars made it to Amtrak, the arrangement and combination of the types of sleepers is not prototypical. All roomette cars, for example, waned in popularity, with the Pennsylvania Railroad opting to rebuild a few into commuter equipment. I also mention this as a bit of rhetoric to suggest that the consist I'm showing here is whimsical in nature. I chose a former Union Pacific 11 double bedroom sleeper, Star Bay, really because I like the imagery that the name evokes. Really, that is the reason for a majority of my picks here. There's an existing entity corresponding with positive feelings or memories. You know, it's what the kids call good vibes. A former Rock Island 8-roomette 6 double bedroom sleeper, Central Park, was chosen for 2 reasons. I am indecisive and value the opinion of my friends greatly. I asked Jeep Studios and Miles Lee to choose between Central Park and fellow 8-6 sleeper Times Square. Both individuals produced different answers, but I ultimately went with the former owing to Central Park hosting one of my all-time favorite artists, Paul Simon, and by extension, Art Garfunkel. One can extrapolate that I take the coziness of the intangible seriously, judging by my inclusion of the Union Pacific sleeper. Likewise, I chose another former Burlington Northern 7431 and West Virginian Western 5 double bedroom lounge on the basis that they jog my memory of Stan Rogers' famous shanty, Northwest Passage. In fact, his song is the reason why I put the 5 double bedroom lounges into the past series for my fictional railroad. His song is both very rooted in the past but also is timeless. Bizarrely, with a bit of modification, the description of Garfield minus Garfield actually sums up the essence of Northwest Passage perfectly. If I may. Northwest Passage reveals the existential angst of a young everyman fighting a losing battle against loneliness and depression across the Pacific Northwest. Or something similar to that. This filler video is getting a bit long, so I'll can that discussion there and move on to the last 2 sleepers, a pair of former Penn Central 10-roomette 6 double-bedroom sleeper cars. One of these cars, Silver Rapids, prototypically made it to Amtrak. I included it as I have grown fond of the storied history behind it, so much so that I had a filler video about it planned that I even put money down on, so it has to come out at some point. You know, as per regulation and law about putting money down on videos and whatnot. But anyways, another topic that I have scheduled for a video is Penn Central's smooth side Pullman standard equipment, of which Kankakee Rapids is one of them. Kankakee Rapids was not picked up by Amtrak. I chose it as homage to Steve Goodman's Odyssey, undoubtedly one of the greatest train songs of all time, the City of New Orleans. Are y'all still with me? Considering the previous monologue of utter esoteric nonsense, the reason why there is a joy in conscious building has to do with the powerful imagery one can create with a few choice names. Am I crazy? Yes, without question. At the core of the idea, it boils down to the wanderlust and safety afforded aboard a long-distance passenger train. I actually pitched a project for my marketing class on this very premise, but that's a story for a different video. See, I find there's a sense of pride and an increased personability between user and game when conscious effort is made to make a contest enveloping and enhancing the previously mentioned abstract concepts of wanderlust and safety. Paul Theorix, a seasoned American novelist, once wrote that anything can happen on a train. A good contest is almost like those abstract phrases. It's always darkest before the dawn, or perhaps possum by night. That made no sense. How about a nice bundle of good vibes?